Pennsylvania Congressman Dan Meuser joining me now. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks for coming on. Let's dive right into this. We hear now that it's possible that the Democrats will push forward somewhat of a clean bill, if you will, that would provide funding to those that need it, but still standing against ICE. Is that something that you've been hearing about and you could get on board with?
Hey, Sean, good to be with you. Well, look, the Democrats want to defund ICE. A couple of years back, they wanted to defund the police. The Democrats also, along with the Biden administration, but almost all in the House and the Senate, allowed 15 to 20 million illegals to come into our country, where perhaps 1 in 15, 1 in 20 is a hardened criminal. So what we're doing is ICE is the patrolling agent to pick up these hardened criminals, and yet they are pushing to defund it. Look, we just changed leadership. The White House is making offers to negotiate. We set up a bill for added training and body cams. We changed tactics in various places based upon the crazed protesting that was taking place and putting ICE agents and their families at risk. And yet the Democrats continue to say, oh, you're not negotiating enough. We've given a lot, and we're not going to fall into their trap. And their trap is to allow those 15 to 20 million in, to defund ICE, and to allow sanctuary cities to do nothing about it. And, by the way, don't pass the SAVE Act so they can vote.
What is your message?
That's the problem.
Sure, understandably. But what is your message to the TSA agents, the 300 that quit, the high percentage that have been calling out sick because they're not receiving a paycheck, and then the ones that you heard highlighted on a different network that have to go to these food lines? People are giving them food and things that they need just to get by because the government is not paying them anymore.
Sean, my message is call your Democrat member and say, my goodness, allow us to get a paycheck. Look, DHS is one full Department of Homeland Security. If my Democrat colleagues haven't noticed, we're at a very heightened level of emergency in our nation right now. The Coast Guard's not getting paid. You listed some of them. FEMA, of course. There's loans not going out. There's funds not going out. Enough already, okay? They're doing this just to continue to press. You know why? Because they don't care about the results. They care about the politics. And I'm pretty outraged about it, as are many, okay? Fund DHS. Let's set new rules that make sense for ICE. Let's work on these sanctuary cities, which are a breeding ground, for crying out loud, for hardened criminals that came here illegally. And do what's right for the interests of our country, not what's right for their, the midterms.
Let's talk
as far as they're concerned.
Let's talk about some of the other damages that can be done. This morning, the acting deputy administrator for TSA was on one of our programs, Wake Up America, this morning, and said this: if it goes on much longer, we could see airports closing. Listen to this.
In some situations, and it's not hyperbole to say, if this continues at select airports, we may have to shut them down. And so that's a significant concern for us, and just underscores the importance for us to get Senate Democrats to come back to the table so we can reopen DHS and TSA.
Just to follow up real quickly on that, you suggested that airports might have to shut down. How far away are we from that possibly being a reality?
I don't want to make determinations in terms of when that is. It'll determine on a variety of factors, of course, call-out rates and other dynamics. But again, if folks stop coming, and again, it's to no fault of their own, the overwhelming majority of these officers continue to come in despite not being paid, but they are financially hurting, and it's a really significant problem right now.
And it does seem wild, but if you just put it in just basic concept, to get to your gate, you got to get through security. This started after the attacks on 9/11. If you don't have TSA agents at securing, they're going to close those gates. No flights are taking off unless these people are obviously going to be screened. So the money has to get there. There's this idea that Jeffries can push, the House Minority Leader can push through a clean bill to get that money over. Are you a yes, at least on that? And then the fighting over ICE, the SAVE Act, and the rest can happen later?
Sean, if we do that, they will never come to the table regarding ICE. ICE is very important. We didn't let 15 to 20 million illegals in. They did. They didn't do anything to really stop it. I now have detention centers being set up in my district, right? There's a lot of pushback on that from Democrats. I don't want the detention centers, but they're the ones who let 15 to 20 million illegals in, where 1 in 15, 5 to 10% are known to be criminals, some on the terrorist watch list. So, of course, we have to do this. That's all part of the Department of Homeland Security. It's just as important now as it was after 9/11, 25 years ago. So we must have this. We must have a reasonable approach. And regarding the TSA agents, look, the Democrats are about disruption. They want to create this disruption and somehow blame it on President Trump and blame it on Republicans. This is absurd.
Well, let me just jump in really
TSA
quick because I'm limited
paid.
on time. So, Congressman, you're saying you've done your job. The House has passed that bill. It sits with the Senate, the DHS bill. The Senate needs to pass it. Is that right?
Well, sure, but we can make some changes to it. The White House just put something out, adding $80 million for added training and more body cams and things of that nature. We changed tactics. The Homeland Secretary stepped down, okay, because it wasn't running as perfectly in the view of the whole. So we made changes. We've made adjustments, right? And the Democrats, yet, what have they done? Not a single thing. They've shut down TSA, they shut down FEMA, they shut down CISA, they shut down the Coast Guard, okay? So, and they shut down ICE, and they're the reason that ICE is necessary in the first place.
Right.
Think how twisted all that is.
1 month into the partial government shutdown. Congressman Dan Meuser joining me today. Great to see you, sir. Thank you so much for coming on. We do appreciate that as always.